You're listening to As Told by Us.
What's up, good people?
That's the love, bro.
So today I'm going to be starting off the episode. It's a rare occasion, but I guess today the topic is very, very much something in my arena. Suggested by Chido and the powers at ChatGPT. So, so today we're going to be talking about the creative economy. Talking about passion versus paycheck, like how is it even sustainable? I think off the record we were talking briefly about DJ Night Freak, who's actually pretty much I think our biggest export. Who in a tweet someone suggested that he charges 15K per hour, and he actually corrected that and said it's for 2 hours. So he's clearly chowing, but is that the case for other creatives, or is he a unicorn situation? So what we're going to do is go around the room and just get like sort of a base of what you guys think creatives make ballpark, just in general.
Yeah, you're putting us on the spot, bro. Really on the spot.
Why 6 the law, bro?
Yeah, just like generalizations from what you see, what you just assume. Yeah.
I think they're being paid in exposure.
Ooh, okay.
That's real.
I agree. I guess it depends what kind of creative as well, because in Zim people don't put a lot of respect, maybe. They don't respect some people's craft. So it just now depends if you're doing like music and it's on the relatable side for the masses, you'll probably make quite a bit. But if you're someone who's got a niche like a genre or whatever, I think people are less likely to want to pay you. They'll pay you in exposure. They'll be like, Mfana, come do something. With the same as people were doing like graphic design and all of that. I don't think people get paid that much. I've heard lots of creatives on that spectrum complaining that they, like brands and whatever, they usually have like a set amount. They'll be like, oh, we can give you $20.
What?
Yeah.
20, buddy?
So yeah, I think it depends.
I think, like Anisu said, it depends. I think it depends on what you're doing. I know some creatives who get paid quite well.
Tell us more.
Creatives.
How do you know?
I don't know why Amanda's looking at me in some kind of way, but I'm just gonna ignore that.
I think you also sort of have to sell out. And by sell out, I'm just thinking of photographers. A lot of people have passion for other things, but you basically have to do weddings to make money and then follow passion on the side. So I think it's the same answer. Depends what you do.
Depends what,
I think
what art you're
probably musicians are,
It's true.
that's where it's not great.
So tell us.
Okay, so just off the top of my head, I would say that you have a tier where you have the Night Freaks, you have Ja Praiser, Winky D, you have fine artists, like these are people who actually who actually exhibit at like Art Basel and stuff like that. They make actually insane amounts of money. Like I'm talking like 70K, like 80K per piece.
Is it our sculpture people? Because I hear those, what is it, soapstone or something that's quite big.
Yeah, so sculptures, paintings, there are guys who use like recycled stuff. They take like toothbrushes.
Mixed media.
Mixed media. And then you have guys who are sort of like on the side of NGO, sort of like, well, not NGO per se, or like embassies. Like we have British Council, who are sort of on, like, I wouldn't say retainer, but they do a lot of programs associated with that, and that's their main thing. And they get like grants and accelerator programs, etc, etc.
Okay.
Then after that, you have like people who are more of like session musicians. So where like you're hired by studios to play guitar, or play piano, or you teach on the side, that sort of thing. But then those instrumentalists, there's someone who's actually super highly paid. His name is Denelson. The crazy part is that we have the same.
Oh, come on now, we're
We're both highly paid.
Highly paid. Because he said one person actually paid him 5K for a delivery.
That was
but like for something like that though, he's kind of
the saxophone guy.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are so fancy.
That's his name.
But I suppose with him, right, he's figured out a way of leveraging his music outside of being a session artist. So this is his sweet spot. It's like he's found his sweet spot where I'm still playing good music, but I'm now delivering a car. I'm delivering this, that, and the other.
Yeah, but there have been other people who've done that as well. Like there've been quite a few like guitar players or just singers like Brian Kay. That's where he started. Where you just like deliver a song to your babe and he'd come and like sing to whoever.
Yeah. So there's that tier. And then you have like independent artists. I would like to put it like you're just winging it. Like maybe it's on a commission-based thing where like someone will hit you up and be like, "Oh, I need this, or I need that," or you're kind of trying to figure out, trying to get gigs, trying to get into that circuit, which is the most difficult thing to do if you're like a full-time creative, because it's really so sporadic that in most cases I've seen it's not sustainable. And a lot of those artists, they are highly prone to stuff like drug abuse, etc., because they're under an unimaginable amount of stress and strain. Because they're good at something, but they're not necessarily getting paid for it. And there's bills to get paid. And it's actually quite heartbreaking to see situations where you see artists, which is on radio and stuff like that. But then when you meet them in person, like it's like really tight, you know. So, and I think that actually makes up the majority.
Artistism.
Yeah, I think that would be like, if I was to put it to a percent, I'd say like that's like 80%.
Sheesh.
Yeah, and there's also location factors. Like if you're not in Harare, you're already at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
If you're not in Harare or Bulawayo, you're already at a disadvantage. And even Bulawayo artists always complain that it's hectic. So now think about a talented artist in Kaduma, in Busape, in Tari. It's actually tricky. So those factor in, and also there's also a problem with like stakeholders, like when we're talking about like radio, traditional media and stuff like that. Zimura. They're trying to sell newspapers, they're trying to sell advertisement space. So they can't really put on upcoming artists. I had a conversation with a radio guy who actually told me verbatim, he was like, you know what? This underground music that y'all do, like we will put that like at 9 p.m. But we can't put you at drive time, like lunchtime.
Because they want viewers. They want
listeners.
Because even the advertisers themselves will actually request we need the songs that actually get people to tune in, because that's also, if you put out ad after that. So that's just the real of it. And I think very early on, my whole stance was to actually have something that's very service facing, right? So it was like, even if I'm not going to do a traditional 9 to 5, I have to have a 9 to 5-esque side of what I do, which is actually like where people actually book sessions, where it's actually like, So that's why I invested in studio equipment to actually have a studio and actually study engineering, sound engineering, etc. Because you have a lot more, there's a bit more stability there because you can get people who want to record their songs. Some people want to do voiceover work. Some people make podcasts, jingles. There's a lot you can do with that. Because I just saw like the thing is with blowing up, it's a unique sort of situation. It's like it's not guaranteed, and the timeline is also not guaranteed.
Yeah.
Because like you have artists like if we talk internationally, there's a guy called I think his name is Jelly Roll, and he popped when he was like 39, 40. That's when he got his biggest song. So life is going on while you're waiting to pop.
Hey there, lovely listeners. So listen, running a podcast in Zimbabwe is quite the journey. It requires resources. And when I say resources, I mean money, time, and effort. Wondering how you can support us? Well, we've got you covered with Inbucks. Or World Remit if you're on the other side of the world and you'd love to contribute. Our Inbucks number is 077 810 3171. Whether it's the cost of a cup of coffee or a virtual high five, every little bit of your support counts. Remember, supporting our podcast isn't about funding our caffeine addiction, though it is in part, but your support keeps our podcast alive and thriving and helps us create more content, ensuring that our laughter echoes through your devices. Thanks again for being part of our community and for listening.
Yeah.
Like just from your story or whatever, there's just like a tension between doing what you love and getting money. I think that doesn't apply to just artists. I think even for us who are in formal employment, yeah, sure, we love it. But
That pause.
but I'm sure like there's, because for example, we're doing this podcast as well. I think we enjoy doing this, but then there's that tension of, I enjoy it, but at some point it needs to kind of feed me in a way, or it needs to make my life a little bit easier. So with that in mind, how was that conversation for you with yourself and even with your family? Because obviously, I don't know if people know this, but you are, you actually went to university and you studied psychology and graduated top of your class.
Yeah.
So how was that conversation like? Because probably there are people out there who are in a space that you were at where, I have the opportunity to work a 9-to-5 job, get a stable income, versus I'm an animator or I'm a rapper and I want to do that. But how is that going to give me money? How do you approach a conversation like that with parents, with even yourself? I feel like you need to be okay with whatever decision you make. So
yeah, that's actually a very good question. I think initially the idea wasn't to be full-time, I guess. It was when I graduated, I was supposed to actually go do my master's degree and like go to either the UK or States to do masters. But then that sort of fell through, and I had also like gone like, yo, regardless of whatever I'm gonna do, I just need to be competent enough in my music and whatever, so that I don't slow down my pace. Even if I have to do school, if I'm gonna work or whatever it is. But then I found myself in sort of a zone where it was like, okay, I'm in limbo. I'm not able to do what I was supposed to do. I sent out some CVs, no callbacks type thing. And then it was just like, yo, I have a condenser microphone, I have a laptop, let me just start, you know. And that sort of was like a snowballing process. So I think it started off as a transitional phase where it wasn't like peeps. I don't think peeps necessarily saw it as like, this is the main thing. It was kind of like, okay, while he's trying to get to the masters or whatnot, this is what he's doing in the meantime. So as I kept on doing it, as I started doing it, it was like, okay, one, obviously I've always loved music, but then there was a new dimension introduced when I actually like started producing for other people. Because now with other people, if you're not doing necessarily what you want to do, it's like someone has a specific type of sound they're going for. Someone has, so it actually started birthing sort of like a businessman in me, like, oh, okay, so when I'm doing this, I actually have to be like, conduct myself in a certain way. I have to actually study how sessions go. I actually have to like deep dive. So I ended up like doing my own like online courses and stuff like that, learning engineering, how to actually get songs done, how to get quality, etc, etc, etc. And then I also was passionate about like owning my time, you know, because I worked after high school. I worked for a bit at my uncle's company before I went to varsity, and that was like a terrible experience. It was just tough. It was just like a tough work environment. And then obviously when I was doing my attachment, I was also working, and that was actually opposite. It was a very lax environment. It was an NGO, but in both cases, like I remember, like I spent 90% of my time getting music tutorials, stuff like that. Like I was invested in that. But then everyone was like telling me, like, "Yo, you gotta make a great impression so that you get a job here after varsity, you know." So I think I was in limbo. But then when I was on attachment, one of my friends who was within high school, someone who was like an early supporter of my music and stuff like that, he unfortunately passed away. And it put a lot of things in perspective. And just like, yo, okay, you know what? I can do what people expect of me, or I can take a risk and actually just take a bet on myself, you know. So after his death was like it kind of cemented like, okay, whatever I'm gonna do, like I have to double down on this music stuff. So
And just make it work.
So definitely when it started getting more serious as a business, that's when the fam was like, yo, like what is he doing? And there was a lot of screaming matches, I would say. There was a lot of like there was a lot of things said, you know, and a lot of things, relationships strained, still even to this day. But I guess when there was more of like a visible progress, that's when like people are like, "Oh wait, he's actually buying this, he's actually doing this, he's actually doing that." So I think on the parent side, it's more of like they just want to know that you can take care of yourself, like that you can actually make money from it. And for me, I would say that was kind of the silver lining of the pressure that they put on, where it was like, okay, I have to monetize this. It has to make sense financially. And unfortunately, a lot of artists don't get that. They don't. Sometimes it's not like they don't have that pressure. It's just that they just want to remain as artists, which is a pure thing. You know, you just want to make songs. You know, but if you want to do it as a business, you have to think about markets. You have to think about. So, in as much as me as an artist, like I have like albums which are very alternative and stuff like that, but on my production side, I've been making beats for people who are mainstream. People are actually doing the mainstream sound and stuff like that because that's where the money was at. So it's a journey. It's a journey. Yeah.
What do you guys think of the saying, do what you love and the money will follow? Is that true?
I don't know. I think what you're saying, Six, really is important to be like, okay, I love this thing and I want to remain a pure artist, but at the same time, I need to eat and I've got bills to pay. So I think it also needs you to, yes, do what you love, like follow your passions, but also have like a be business minded about what you're doing, especially if it's going to be your sustenance. I actually wanted to ask you a question. So, in terms of being an artist, you then have like extra help around you. Do you then look for someone who does marketing? Do you look for a lawyer who can help you with contracts when you're now entering the contracts? Do you have like a team? I'll put team in quotes because, yeah. Do you have like a team that you can look to then assist you as the artist?
So that's ideally that's like the best case scenario. You're supposed to have a team to do everything, but like in the first instance, it's just you. You're the marketing. You're doing everything. And initially, I used to do like from the artwork to the distribution to like contracts. I would just be like a Google search. I'm like, okay, get a template, use that. But the older I got, I saw the importance of actually having people who are experts in that field deal with those things. And I think also, to be honest, the way I approached art was very business-like from the jump. It was like, I was like, if I'm actually gonna do this, like, I actually need to think really like a business, and as a business, you can't do it alone. You need people to actually help you out. But then also the other side of it is that people need to get paid. So that makes it tough. So what's happened for me is like as time has gone on, because of putting myself out there, sometimes the people just present themselves sort of. Yeah. So it's like if like for example, like right now, just off of the strength of us doing this podcast together, if I have a legal issue, I'll probably hit up one of your, and it's just like sort of like a side effect of just like one of the ventures that I'm doing. So that's actually how
Value exchange.
That's usually how it happens, whether it's videographers, whether it's photographers and stuff like that. I was having a conversation with someone online, and like he used to be a rapper and he's like now a prominent photographer. And he was going like, yo, I want to get back into studio and stuff like, but my prices ain't really high. And I'm like, nah, dog, your prices even as a photographer are crazy, but we can do an exchange. Like you take my photos, I record your song type thing. So sometimes that's the best way to do it. And also the beautiful part about it is like with the internet, it's also the onus is on you to actually also go like, okay, let me research on this subject. Because some things are like very simple, like you can get like a basic agreement, like, or if you want to draft something that's very basic, you can like look online. But then, when it's complex matters, and that's when you have to kind of lean on either it's going to be a peer group or there's another side of artists who are backed by Mbingas. I think that's our closest thing to having like a record label.
The Mbingas.
It's Mbinga. So I would say like if
what's this? Who's that pastor prophet who did didn't he do Chill Spot or something? Pressure in Java.
Yeah, stuff like that. So they have their business interests, and then a good example is Nash Paints, right? Nash Paints is a paint company, but also at the same time it's kind of the biggest media entity in the sim because of having Nash TV. They have Saint Flow. They're kind of, the business model is kind of brilliant because they kind of created their own brand ambassadors just by investing in talent. They have a studio. And one of the artists actually got signed to Virgin.
Who is it? Saint Flow.
Saint Flow, yeah. So they're obviously getting money from there and stuff like that. So in those situations, it's good. But then if you have to be a certain type of artist to even fall on that radar. So it's like Shona music appeals to the ghetto. You have a buzz in the streets, that's definitely gonna get you on the radar of Mbingas. It doesn't guarantee anything per se, because like there's also a lot of artists who've had gone the Mbinga route and then it also just turned out to be terrible. They end up getting exploited or that sort of thing.
So what would you say really is the problem in our context? Because if you look at it on a global scale, I think it's a lot easier, and the creative sector is booming at the moment. Content creation is just everything. Everyone wants to be an influencer. In the first world, kids are making money just like from being on TikTok. You can make a TikTok about your dogs and you're making a second income for your household. You have things like the Creator Fund that are going, even government sponsored, big companies, everybody wants content. So if you are a creative right now, I think in the global scale, that's actually a viable career. You have a lot of kids who are not even thinking about the 9-to-5 route because that's outdated. But we seem stuck. So what is it? What is the issue? Is it an economic issue? Is it an acceptance issue? What is it? Because even when it comes to studying or being a creative, in our context, it has become a form of privilege. Like you say, either you have access to these Mbingas or you just have money at home. If you think about university, all the kids that I know who did things like theater and like went like full on creative, it's like they've got rich and supportive families where it's like I can afford to follow my passion because it's not like I'm going to go hungry, literally. And you have that space and that platform, which actually gives you a boost. So if you were to fix it, or if you were to put yourself in your shoes and say, look, this is the environment that I need, what's the fix?
So something I always talk about with like a member of my team, this guy called Don, it's like smoke and mirrors, right? And how it looks like creativity is booming, I won't lie. But the problems we have here are eerily also like a global problem. So just yesterday, I was actually watching this TikTok, and this guy was breaking down like pretty much how many people make money off of like creative pursuits, whether it's a podcast, whether it's music, whether it's a book, sort of thing. And the scary thing is like on Spotify, over 60% of songs go without a single play. Like
60%.
Yeah, 60% of songs go without a single play. Then you have like a percentage of people who actually make sense on like those platforms. Then it's only like if you are able to make a living from these platforms, you're actually in the top 1%. Like literally, you're actually like on Drake. You're actually in that group. Because ultimately it's like the Drakes and the Kendricks and like the New York bestsellers people, and those people are working on Marvel movies who are actually making money. A majority of people are trying, so they'll have like you have TikTok content, you can make some money on these platforms, but also the stipulations, it's like you have to have like maybe 100,000 to 1 million views for you to make real money. So even the fix is more on like on a platform level, like the actual like sites, like if they could pay more, which when you look from their perspective, they can't really pay more. The economics of it just doesn't make sense for them to pay us $1 per stream, that sort of thing. So it's a very tough thing. I think it's the most volatile career that you can pursue. It's just high risk. It's like the risk is high because being good isn't enough. It's like, and there's also like gimmicks. For example, you have an artist like Ice Spice, right? Ice Spice gets on a fitness journey, she loses weight, and all of a sudden she starts losing fans.
She gets on a Ozempic journey.
and she starts losing fans because what people bought into wasn't like her being fit and stuff like that. They want to see her twerking, etc, etc. So she actually had to gain that weight back for her to like, yo, this is what I need to do to actually push. So right now, the internet is a beautiful thing because yeah, you can get your art out there, you can get attention on it, but you have to be the onus, to be honest, is just like on the artist himself. Like you have to like understand the market and what you're trying to do and how in a very real way you can do this, you know. Like personally right now I'm actually sort of in some sort of like a transition because I was always of the mind that like, okay, you know, if I make music and it's good music and you know it can just filter into any other market, even bigger markets, right? But the painful realization that I've had to make was like, yo, I kind of have to have Zim on board before I go and try and do like all these international things, right? And even all my content. So initially, like my content was very much so like, okay, you know, I'm just gonna Eurocentric and stuff like that. But now I react to stuff that's more Zimbo, more. So, and to be honest, I wouldn't say it's really selling out because I am Zimbabwean at the end of the day. These are the environment which I grew up in. But it's just like these are the things. It's a tougher decision to make for other artists because some other artists, they're very detached from what's the socially acceptable Zimbabwean sound or whatever it is. And sometimes when they try and do that, it sounds super forced.
You raised 2 points that I wanted to just. The first one is this one where it almost feels like there's a toss up between how do I maintain my creative identity versus how do I get money from the work that I'm doing. So sometimes you feel like, I think Amma even said it, that you end up selling out because well, you need to make the money, which I think is sad. But I suppose that's the name of the game, right? But I also think that, to your point previously, that you were talking about Night Freak. I think that once you hit the sweet spot, honestly, because with the numbers you were talking about with Night Freak, he can survive the entire month just off of one performance. But I also think that, again, to what you were saying, I think people buy into stories that they can relate to. And I think maybe that's, from my observation, that's where people are more successful. For example, like Ja Preza, right? He didn't try to sing in English. That's not his thing. He, if anything, he doubled down on the traditional.
Until like recently, though.
Until recently, yeah. Because now he's trying to penetrate the international market.
What has he done recently?
Now
So
he's like singing.
his last album, he released 2. So he released one with the traditional vibe, and then the other one was like, what was it? Afro techno, I think. Like Afro tech house. I'm a piano leaning, but I get what you're saying, you know, because sometimes you need to appeal to the masses for you to then be like, okay, guys, I'm now being creative in other spectrums.
I feel
Make
like
us happy first.
you need a certain level of entrenchment in the industry to experiment. Like I mean, Beyonce did a country album, which was, you know, its own thing, but she's at the stage where she
can do anything
because it's Beyonce. So
So you know where it becomes tricky now is like, so imagine this Zimbabwean kid, right? And they grew up obviously in Zimbabwe, but let's say, for example, they went to a private school and it's predominantly English at home. They're watching DSTV. Their perspective of Zimbabwe they have a perspective of Zimbabwe. There's obviously like still like you're gonna go to the shops, you're gonna do this, but like your story is like gonna be a bit tricky for mass adoption, you know. Yet like a ghetto youth, it's like
Everyone
it's talking
can
about
relate.
and the difference between and this was painfully obvious when I did Shoko Festival. The difference between like my brand and, for example, Volt's brand is that Volt's is championed by its neighborhood. Like kids from the whole of Cheetown will go out because it's like one of our own. You know what I'm saying? It's not like Marlboro. Like if it's
Marlboro, people are gonna come to Cheetown to support you, bruh.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the difficult position you find some artists in, and some artists have figured out a way, because this is not just a problem in Zim, even essay. So I was watching a Nasty C interview, and I don't know if you remember, there's this time when Nasty C was doing a like effort to get into the American market. Like he was actually going there, collaborating and stuff like that. So he was being asked like, yo, it seems like you slowed down on the American stuff, what's up? And he was like, yo, I realized Kuti, they, first of all, if you sound like them, you know what I'm saying? It's like, there's like, yo, we already have.
We have that.
You know,
We have
and
that,
I realized that my fan base is SA and Europe. Those are the people. Because when you put out a product, any product, the market will tell you, like, do we want this or do we, you know? So I had to also look at my songs. My highest performing songs are my songs, which are like more Shona leaning. It's just, that's just how it is. It's like my most streamed songs are songs.
Even your shirt.
Yeah, it's like people love the more Shona stuff. So, and then you look at artists like Gemma Griffiths, you know, like her Shona isn't all that great, you know. It's terrible, but like, I mean, I guess she has the novelty of like she's a white lady singing in short.
You see, and she's much as initially when she started and she was singing in China, I was like, this is, you're taking advantage a little bit, because you see that like there's a novelty around white girl singing in Shona. Oh my gosh, let's go support her. And I felt a bit like, I think this is some kind of appropriation of sorts. Like
still
cultural
feel like
appropriation. Yeah,
I do. I feel like, unfortunately for Zim, we also like the white people. So sometimes if you're someone who can,
not me.
you can speak in Shona and you are able to relate to people, you're basically going to make more money, you're going to get more brands. And that's the truth. There's that lady on TikTok who does like these little dances, and she gets so many brands. She's there within the Bakerzine, she's there within the whatever, because let's be honest, it's because she's white.
She's white and she can
She's
dance
white, she can relate to the Zim experience. Then you look at someone like Cody Rank Marshall, who's speaking Shona. It's getting adverts, it's getting paid for his brands. But it's because he's white, in all honesty.
Yeah, it's because he's white, but also Kodia, guys, that one.
Because he can, like,
blacker than me.
No, but he actually has privilege because his parents are rich. He's gone to a rich school. He's not like you.
Yeah,
he's gone to a
like
rich school.
Yeah.
He went to the UK for a bit just to chill. Now he's back. He's still within his content creation bag. Yes. So, hey, we're not the same, guys. So me personally, I still do feel some type of way when that happens, because why can't you support your own as well?
Yeah.
Like, why can't you support people as well?
I feel like it's so complicated, because even when you were speaking about this whole private school kid dilemma, I was thinking really it becomes this identity politics where as people, we want to relate, we want to connect with a particular sound. So I won't lie, I'm guilty of it, especially with hip hop, whether it's Zim hip hop and local or SA hip hop, for example. It's such a fine line. Once you get into the sounds like stage, where it's like, you kind of sounds like Drake. It kind of sounds like, it's a put off, because it's like, I don't want it to sound like Drake, I want Drake. but it's people who are able to fuse the sound. Like if you look at maybe someone like Burna Boy, where he taps into African music and then taps into something that's a bit modern and creates a sound that, you know, it's its own thing. And I feel like that's what works, right? So now when you take it to someone like Gemma, she is Zimbabwean. You
No,
know,
yeah, we're
at
not
one
denying-
point, I get it.
I'm not
a
even
tense thing,
denying
huh?
her talent, because she's actually
I
really
get it,
talented.
right?
But she needs a gimmick to get the
But
crowd.
is it a gimmick or is it just a part of her identity that she's decided to push?
To that extent,
because
where you
what's-
don't know how to say the Shona words. I don't know, man.
But the thing is, that's her reality, right? She grew up in Zim. If she's going to talk Shona, that's how she's going to sound, right? It's like me doing a Shona song now. Would you be? It would even be offensive because it would be like, what is this girl
But
doing?
I would bump
you
to
get
it though.
But that's my life. That is my story. I'm here, and like a part of my life requires me to speak Shona.
Yeah, but that's my thing though. I just feel some type of way because she can sing and she has like taken out music. Before she spoke Shona, she was actually an artist. I don't know if you know the music she used to do on like YouTube and all of that. And she was booking shows in Zim before she came back to Zim. She was booking shows. But then she realized if I speak in Shona, the masses will come.
They'll come.
And that's why I'm calling it a gimmick. That's why I'm calling it a gimmick. Because everyone needs something that they know will catch the masses. Even with Burna, like Burna gets a lot of flack for copying Fela Kuti's music. But at the same time, that's his gimmick. That's how you people will be like, yo, this jam, it's a hit, but you don't know it's a sample.
It's just
So you need a thing.
I suppose it's like your ice.
And I feel like
And even like you see there's a whole debate going on right now about Doechii, where they were like shit.
Don't touch Doechii. Don't mess with
She's an industry plant.
Yeah, people be like she's an industry plant. How can she come out of nowhere? And like now she's winning Grammys. The album even didn't sell that well. etc.
Those people listen to that album.
That's the thing. So I feel like ultimately with the entertainment industry, right? One thing I actually like to tell like younger artists, right? But sometimes artists will just send me their music, right? They'll just be like, yo, Sister Law.
Bruh.
And I'm like, bruh. Listen to my song, Gigi. And I'm like tagging me in your music isn't gonna make you pop, you know. And even if I do share it, let's say I share it on my story or whatnot, like how many people are actually gonna leave and actually follow you, you know? And I understand where they're coming from. They want like yo, I need that time, but it's like there's certain things that you have to do. Like I had to go like through, I'd like to say every stage of like this thing. Like as in when I say like I started from open mic sessions at the gallery, like trying to figure stuff out. Open mic sessions, ciphers, and slowly but surely like going through that. But now because of the internet and people are seeing extreme success, people want to go from zero to Burna Boy overnight. You know? And it doesn't work like that. You have to actually, even Burna Boy, what you had to go through a lot for him to become like Burna Boy. So I would say that ultimately the audience is just going to gravitate to what they want. You know, that's just the fact of the matter. Then as an artist, you choose like, yo, am I going to be a niche artist? Because if you're a niche artist and you've chosen to be a niche artist, then don't complain about mainstream snubs or stuff like that. Because you've chosen to be a niche artist, you're not going to get that mainstream look. It's like when I dropped Handle with Kid in December, right? Going into it, I already knew this is not a project that's going to be, you know, it's not for everyone. Yeah, it's different from like when I did A Boy in the Blanket. When I did A Boy in the Blanket, it was very much, there was an intentionality that we have to
appeal to everyone.
Exactly. We actually sat down, wrote down, okay, the kid who's in the ghetto, this is the song for them. This is the song that relates to this person who's there. So that level of intentionality now is where it becomes tricky, because right now, whether artists like it or not, you kind of have to be an artist and a marketing expert and a business person. You can't just be an artist and then get mad at like, okay, Spotify doesn't want to pay us enough. but Spotify doesn't want to pay us enough and stuff. But you need to actually also understand what's the business model. Because I used to be one of those people who would be like, no, Spotify is the man, they cheat, But when I actually went through my phase of being a startup founder and understanding how platforms work, I was like, no, it doesn't make sense for Spotify to actually pay us X amount, you know. So when you have that reality, because there's some people who get it, you know, like, and unfortunately, even if you are in the ghetto and you are making acceptable music, it's still not enough, you know, because you can have 1 million views, like 1 million views translates to $200, by the way. Like that's how much.
Wait.
on
YouTube?
From YouTube. YouTube will give you $200.
I mean, that's a start.
It's a start.
For you to get 1 million views.
1 million views, right? So what you're trying to look at is like, sometimes you have to have the smarts to go like, it's not about making money from the platform. It's about having an audience, right? And then charging people access to that audience. You see? And then that's how you do it. So some people get an audience by having a hit song. Some people, you have this kid, Anunzi Oriano, right? He was
who performed it
at the Namas.
Namas.
Yeah. He was a skit maker. He does skits and stuff like that, who just happened to be a talented musician. But then he built this whole audience, Kuma skits, that when he started releasing music, he's like now one of the biggest booked artists. You know, so
you never know. It might have been his plan all along.
yeah, exactly. That could have been his plan. So as an artist, like if I, like, for example, let's say I post a beat, it's like, that's cool for artists, but then it's like, as a casual consumer, you're just like, okay, it's a beat, you know. But then if I put a context to it, like, I took a song, Tuku, and then I spruced it up and I made a beat from this, it becomes interesting. It's because people have already built rapport with Tuku. And it's like, okay, this is like a new video. This is interesting that you do this. And that's the phase we are at, where it's like, it's not enough for me to like go like, I make music. That's why you see I'm so heavy on content. You'll see me do like reaction videos or like I sample this old cartoon and whatnot. Because you come to this realization that people are not on social media to discover you. People are there to be entertained. And if this is your primary medium of pushing your craft, whether you're animator, book writer, whatever, you have to be, it's better for you to actually draw Harry Potter than drawing your original character first off, because people already know Harry Potter. They've already built a rapport with that. And then now it's going like, do you see the way this person did this Harry Potter thing? Then now it's like a funnel to get people into your thing. So that's just the way I look at it right now, that if there was to be a solution, it's just like, be aware of like what you're trying to do, because your goalposts will determine like how you move in the industry, you know. Because right now, like, it's like, okay, I've looked at the market. I'm like, okay, I've tried all these different sounds. I now know that, okay, people gravitate more to this sound and stuff like that. And now it's at the point where it's organic. It's not like I'll be trying to become something. It's more of like just tapping into a bag, which I have, maybe with slight adjustments, you know. If I want to appeal to, like, let's say crowd in Bulawayo, right? I don't speak in Ndebele, right? But I have artists who I work with who do speak in Ndebele and stuff like that, right? So I can collaborate with them, you know, and create content around that. And that's just the way it's going to be right now, because I feel like sometimes also as artists, they have this thing of waiting for someone to save them, sort of type thing. Where it's like, maybe waking up can change my life. Maybe, you know, this person, they'll like spam people and stuff. And I understand, because I've been that artist, you know, like on the come up, where it's just like, by any means, I need to get in the door. But when you understand the mechanics, and it's also very, very relationship based. Like,
as is everything.
As is everything, right? So if you're going to do festivals, if you're going to do like shows, if you want to get booked, if you don't have those relationships, because we see what makes Doechii or Tyler or even Ice Spice or whatever pop, right, is because there's a team. There's what's called the machine, right? There's a difference where I drop a song and then I say link out now, and it's like that stops at that. They have a team of TikTokers who are going to do like TikToks to this. They have ads which are going to be running all week. There's like a budget.
Just kind of like how Dochi's anxiety track. It's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
You have Will Smith out doing the challenge, guys. Yeah.
You see?
He's dancing. That old man.
That's nice.
And think about it, the nostalgia effect of that song, because we all know somebody who used to know.
Yeah.
We know the original sample.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, Dochi did a sample. It becomes this whole.
You see, I think for me, the issue, like I get what you're saying, Six, but that really puts a lot of pressure on the artist. And I think it's almost an impossible task. For me, the glaring issue is there's no industry. Like the team you're talking about is the people who get into the business and create an industry, who say that, look, I'm a marketer or whatever, and I want to be in the creative industry. Like even for myself, maybe studying, of course, I would have had an interest in entertainment law or doing that, but I definitely can't, because who's going to be my client? There's no contracts, there's no record labels, there's no deals that are happening. It's just like every now and then. And the artists who might even have a legal issue, it's like what you're talking about, where it's just like a friendly basis to say that, let me read this contract for you, Six. And it's like, something where I definitely can't create a business out of it. So to me, I think it's the environment that our artists are in that's just impossible. Because even if you look at someone like Kyla Black, she frustrates me so much because that girl is so talented. And I think it's okay sometimes to just be an artist. You don't have to be a business manager. You don't have to be a marketer, because you might not have all of that, but you're just a very talented person. What happens to those people? Normally, all you need is an industry that's going to pick up the talent and say, look, I'm a lawyer, I'm this. We can make money out of this person because there's an industry. I can be a person with money and say, let me start a record label because I can sell these kids, I can sell these things because there's a market for it. But right now, we don't have the market, we don't have the industry, we don't have the infrastructure. So I've seen so many talented kids. There's so many in our country. There's so much talent, but nothing really can be done because there's no industry. Like if you were to just go into the hood, go into these neighborhoods, what these kids are doing with their cell phones just amongst themselves, it's crazy. It's so good, but there's no industry. If you're in America or even in South Africa these days, where there's going to be people who are going to go out into the neighborhoods and be looking for the next kid, the next big thing. Maybe our Mbinga culture is probably the closest to that, where you have now these people doing mangomas and these random battles happening on the streets and people blow up, but there's just not enough of that. To the extent that, I don't know if I would actively encourage a young creative at this point, which is a sad thing, because if you were to be confronted with a kid who's like got their whole world in front of them and saying, look, I've got the talent, I've got the means, I can go and be a lawyer, I can go and actually do this thing, but at the same time I want to sing. I actually have a cousin, too young. That child is so bloody talented.
I haven't heard from him in a while.
Because he's not there anymore. Like I remember he even explained, he's like, because he has this push and pull. While he's talented, he can sing, he can rap, he just has that cut thing. At the same time, he's really good at school. He's got like an engineering degree. Like he's also got that going for him. And he's at a point where he has to choose, and he's like, I need something stable because I want to make money, I want to make a living. But out of everybody, I'd say, yo, go for it, you have it. But he can see for his own life that
it's tricky.
I can't, because he's had this push and pull for years now. Because he started when he was too young. But like already he was good. I think he won some competition for him. We would like to have a jingle on the thing. Even like my parents, everybody's like, oh, whatever. But I can't push him to say go for your music career. It would be selfish on my part because I'd be like, no, I understand. You need to make money. So
Last question though, like for someone like your cousin, right? It's just that maybe it's also difficult to do it as a side hustle.
yeah.
Maybe maintain your 9 to 5, and then on Saturdays you're too young.
I mean, that's been his career because,
Okay.
like I said, he's not an old person. He's still young. Maybe he's not too young, but that was him studying and recording and whatever.
Okay,
And even like the height of his career, it's not like he was just doing that. He's never gone full time. But there's times where he's had more time to do it, and then there's times where he's like, oh, I need to fall back and do my exams. I need to work, and then now. He's a young man. He's going into his adulthood, and now he has to make that decision to say, do I go? Do I jump? You know what I mean? Obviously, there's a lot of pressure coming from different angles, but that's a decision he's made. He might maybe still make a song or two for fun, but it's not like he's intentionally going to make it. And you know, the sad part, even if I think of Bulawayo, you look at people like ASAP, who pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed, and then got to a point where it looked like, oh, okay, he's made it, right? And then we're all like, yeah, and then
he was like, yeah.
and then I think he also probably goes through a point where it's like, okay, I've been climbing this mountain and I got to the top, and that's it. And then now what? And then now he has to pivot, and it's like, okay, so now he's back in the grind again. It's something that you look at and you don't know what to make of it.
Yeah. And you know, like that's a great example because like ASAP is actually someone who like now we're actually much closer than we were back in the day, and we actually have extensive conversations about it. And I have like an immense respect for ASAP because. Like, he's one of the guys who, like, he stuck to his guns. He's a very lyrical guy. And he's in a tough situation where he's kind of like, because he's not Ndebele. He's like, he's almost like Shona in Bulawayo. And, like, being from that perspective, it's like, puts you in an interesting position. But the dope part about him is that he's one of the guys who quickly understood like leveraging his influence because he was like a brand ambassador and he does some work right now with the EU and stuff like that. So you can see that he actually has a great relationship even with like American embassy and stuff like that. Even they recently did this very cool recording camp in blues. So the thing is, you're right. It's like it does put a lot of pressure on the artist, but unless we have, so I like to think of myself as I'm a big infrastructure guy, right? Like I really think about sustainability models and extensively like research these things and like how can we get people paid and stuff like that. And sometimes you realize that the reason why some of these corporates, because it even goes as deep as corporates, because the marketing departments are even headed by guys who are like old heads basically, and who are like don't want to even evolve. So in as much as your song may actually be the perfect thing for a campaign, because I've pitched songs to like, I've gone as far as like I have a product that I love and I'm like, I consume this anyway. I'm down to create content for it. And I actually reach out to the marketing guys and actually give a brief, do like a pitch deck and stuff like that. And people are just like, they know. You know, like it always ends like, we pitched the Olympic committee. We had a song for the Olympics. And just the I won't go into details, but it was very disheartening, the process of like what happened.
It's old people because like even on my perspective I do some like board level work for companies that have the budget and they're like talking about Facebook and ZBC ads and whatever. I'm like, how are we, and I'll be saying it, how are we having this conversation and you don't have TikTok on this document? How am I being shown a marketing plan, your marketing strategy for the next 5 years? And there's no TikTok there. There's no Instagram. You're talking about Facebook. You're talking about TV ads. You're talking about high budgets where it's like you could make a podcast for less. And then they look at me like, what is a podcast? Or they'll joke about, my grandchildren have TikTok, ha ha ha. And I'm like, you see where the money is, there's no connection with that. Because,
So imagine your situations, and then, the next thing is like you have like these conferences, right? And they'll be like, we have a panel of people coming through. They're going to teach you about the music industry with an expert from this, expert from that.
Yeah.
You know? And the only real person making back from that is the implementing partner.
Yeah.
You see? Because that's the new hustle as well. It's like, if I pitch something good enough to a certain thing, I mean, it does help to a certain degree. But then sometimes the information is generalizations. It's like, sometimes they put the money in their back. Like, actually go like, okay, you're going to create an album. This is the budget. This is for your videos, stuff like that. Like, that's very literal help. But then going like, you need to have this registered. You need to do... Yes, it's cool. Like, I'm registered with a publishing rights organization called BMI in the States. It's a nice thing to say. But if you're not doing the numbers or it's not actually giving you back, it's just something that looks good on paper.
But nothing else. And I think that's usually like these conferences. It's just lip service, right? I've been to conferences like that where it's like, it's for creators, da, 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 da. I mean, it's great. But then there was this one where this lady was speaking and she was asked a very practical question. She's a professional. She was asked a very practical question by an artist about distribution and the like laws around distribution. She couldn't answer that question because she doesn't know anything about
what they're doing.
About what, the textbook version of this is the kind of advice I would give artists, da, 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 da. But also from a professional perspective, sometimes we also don't know the level or the depth of, I don't know, we may not be well equipped even to help you at the level that you're at because maybe you've done even more than the professional who you think is going to help. So I think that sometimes these conferences I don't know, there's a bit of a disconnect. It's just there for the pictures, we did this so that we can get more funding for this event. But really, I think there's such a disconnect in terms of like what Amma was saying, just the powers that be, where the money is at, and the people themselves that are actually creating the thing. There's a huge disconnect.
Because I feel like in Zim, a lot of people are actually very creative. We've all been told, go to school, do this and the other. But a lot of people are actually more on the creative side, be it you're doing graphics or you're doing acting, which is now, you can't even act on a show in Zimbabwe. You're doing skits on YouTube and TikTok and whatever, because there's no industry like what Amanda's saying. There's no place where you can be like, okay, in the next 5 years, I'm going to be on Studio 263. There's no Studio 263 for you to be on.
Multi-choice.
There's no shows. I just saw this one guy we were at school with. I think he was in my dining hall, and he was a G14. So 2014.
So,
and this year he's now on Generations. What? And he was posting and saying, guys, I'm now on Generations. Like, please go and watch. This is my first.
Did he do drama?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
So the thing is, with Zim, you can go this route, but then you can't find work and you can't make money. And that's why we have so many like big creatives who are then like, you know what, guys, I love my country, but I can't do this here. You have people like Dana, you have people like Shasha, who were like trying in Zim. But she was like, hey, this is not cutting. Let me go and make friends with Kabsa and Mapurisa. And look how big she then became. But she was here. So yeah, I agree. There's no support.
There's
There's no support. Even if you do these little conferences here and there, like at the end of the day, the crux of it is that we don't support arts and culture. We don't even have a ministry just for arts and culture. We lump it up with sports. We say it's the same. Is it the same? Arts and culture and sports. That's not the same. Like, yeah, and we don't even have like proper bodies. We don't have like a place where a creative would be like, okay, I want a grant from the government. Can I please go to this place?
Yeah.
Can you please support me? Okay, I'm starting this. How do I go about it? How can I? We don't have that, which is quite sad. It's a
I
mess.
think you shouldn't have to choose, because how we started this topic was to say financial stability versus passion and doing what you love. If all things were equal, you don't have to choose, because that's why I'm asking, like, do you think that is true when they say if you do what you love, the money will follow, right? That only works in an environment that works how it should.
Yeah, that's true.
But now, because we're in Zim, it kind of feels like you always have to choose. You can't eat. You can't have your cake and eat it. You have to. If you want money, you go and find a job that gives you $500 a month. Or if you want to follow your passion, you can be working for exposure for the longest time until maybe one day you only get $500 again, which is just like it feels like.
I mean, the things I've seen, people will be like, okay, you can come perform at this thing, but sell tickets, and then you'll get half of whatever you sell, and that's your pay. Or they say, come, but we'll just give you food and transport. And sometimes you don't even get that food and transport. So it's...
I'm trying to think, like, what's a horror situation I've been in, because I've been in so many.
Give us one. Give us one to close off.
Exposure situations. Yeah, I remember I was booked for a show once, and then I get there. It was at Rainbow Towers, and I get there, and this was like 2017, and I'm ready to go on stage, and basically I didn't end up performing, because at that time the sim dance was the biggest genre, right? So I was already going there for exposure. So I just wanted to go and even perform, but they didn't even allow me to get on stage because the sim dance guys just ran with the show. And I'm talking to the organizer like, yo, bro, like, when's my slot? She says, Shamba. You know what I'm saying? And I've actually taken out resources, because you know how crazy it gets with an artist? It's like getting to a place, like, it should be a simple thing, right? Like, okay, I'm getting to a venue. An artist needs to think of how to get from point A to point B.
Yeah.
An artist needs to think of how they're gonna wear, right?
So you're gonna invest in
outfits.
You have to think of what you're going to wear, you know. Your soundtrack, do you have a DJ? Are you going with your music on a flash?
Yeah.
If you're not a producer, you are paying a producer to like put your songs in order before you go to the show. So, and then I think like early on, I realized that I need to cut out a lot of overhead for me to do this, you know, as a career. Because because I've saved, I haven't paid for studio since 2015. Right, 2015 was the last time I actually went to a studio and paid the producer, like, to record my vocals. I record my own vocals, I mix my own music, I don't have production costs. So for me, it's easier for me to navigate this, because like my overhead is just kind of like rent for this space and stuff like that. But then now think about someone who's like, they're not a producer.
Yeah, I can just sing.
So like you're gonna have to pay a producer. You don't have a marketing.
That's wild.
YouTube, you have to do ads, because like if you just post, unless you're let's say strikingly beautiful, right? Where it's like, okay, people are just see the looks, you already get likes anyway. Maybe you will get some traction, but you're still gonna need to do ads. So it's a tough thing. But hey, if you do want to pursue a career in the arts,
Leaves him.
leave Zim. But the funny thing is that a lot of people have left Zim and tried to penetrate markets that end up coming back to Africa, even Nigeria, where they're like, hey, okay. Because Burna Boy actually went to UK to push his career. And they were like, nah, I need to.
He also tried essay.
He tried essay. They was like, nah, I need to. So do what works for you, ultimately. Be informed. Don't be discouraged. I mean, it's a tough industry, obviously. It is, and I wouldn't say that like, it's going to be easy. But
It's going to be harder than normal.
It's going to be harder than normal. But then the thing is, also at the same time, the artist, like if you have like a rest in peace Gary Mapanzu, his first song on SoundCloud blew up. Like song number 1, he was already the buzz of the street. Song number 2, he had 1 million views. So that also still happens. You can get viral hits and stuff like that. That still happens.
I suppose this just reminded me of a book I'm reading, and there's something that they said that nothing is as good as it seems or as bad as it seems.
Yeah.
So like, you always have to take into consideration luck and risk, right? Because like your Gary situation, that was pure luck.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, the stars just aligned
Aligned.
for him and he just popped off immediately. And then there are others who it's going to be calculated risk after calculated risk until maybe one day, maybe
Maybe you blew up.
maybe you blow up, maybe you don't.
Maybe you don't. That's also a possibility. So, yeah.
Thank you for listening.